And we've got a few days till our election, Stephen. I should mention to our viewers, we will go back to Ottawa and we'll hear from Mark Carney, triumphant, former, as I say, central bank governor, not just in Canada, but the UK as well. And we'll go to him when he speaks with that victory speech. But Stephen, when you touch on the sort of implications for our election, where are things at? I'm not going to say call the election now, but how do you read things at the moment? And one thing I would say to you is that in Fowler, one seat, I know it's only one seat, but it's fresh mail that I received yesterday, is that it's 50-50 there now. 3 months ago, Labor's polling had it at 58-42. It's back to 50-50, so a toss-up in Fowler for Tully and Daly.
Yeah, no, well, it's very similar in Melbourne. If you'd have, remember our conversations 2 months ago, not even 3 months ago, there were probably 8 seats in Victoria that were under live threat. Today, it's probably between 1 and 4, with a chance. We're pumping resources into a Menzies and into a Deakin to try and take those 2 seats, which are the only 2 seats in the broader metropolitan area of Melbourne that the Liberals actually hold. So that swing back to us that you've mentioned in Fowler, you can see in all the published polls in Victoria as well. And Victoria was the big state that Dutton was counting on to deliver because of the Jacinta Allen and the Victorian State Labor government, which is got all sorts of troubles. So I think that mail out of Fowler is right. If you look at what's happened in Victoria, it's right. So Dutton is really struggling to get traction to win, the even 15 seats that he was hoping to win to get to, a 70 or a 71. So I think it's very hard. I know the standard discussion, and I've given it in the last few days, there's all these undecided voters, there's all these soft voters, and none of them have ever transpired to help a Labor opposition that's been, behind in the polls suddenly take government. And I've had that conversation many times, too many times in the past.
Michael, yes, we know from recent history, in fact, you look at 2019, where expectations were one way, the result was different. So I think people are cautious, as Stephen says, because of that uncertain cohort, the soft voter, but also recent history with that election of 2019.
Mm-hmm. So look, in this election like 19, there's an undercurrent. In the 19 election, even though Shorten was ahead of the polls, and when we got to the desk on election night, we all expected Shorten to win, there was a large undercurrent against him, which didn't play out in the polls, and that was an undercurrent of people who were horrified by these tax increases. There is an undercurrent in this election too, and the undercurrent is that most people don't think Albanese's done enough to be re-elected. So large amounts of people voting early is obviously always a bad sign for a government. Let's hope that's right. And there is an undercurrent of people thinking, well, things haven't gone well under an Albanese. Interest rate rises, the cost of living crisis, overblown immigration levels, the worst, breakdown in social cohesion we've seen in our history, increasing crime rates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So people have a pretty negative view of the Albanese government, and for the coalition, it's just got to hope that those people quietly vote in the polling booth to say we don't want the next 3 years to be like the last 3. If that happens, then they've got a chance of winning.
Michael Kroger, Stephen Conroy, gents, I look forward to seeing you on the weekend when we will know all. Appreciate it.